Okay, I think we have a good number of attendants now. So hello everyone to today's webinar. My name is Ahmed Jneid. I'm Senior Pre-Sales Engineer in Incorta, and today we'll be taking you through our episode 2, Smooth Sailing to the Cloud with the Incorta Cloud. And please feel free, of course, to use the Q&A section. We'll have a dedicated 5 minutes at the end of the session. If you have any question, feel free to ask any question. So for today's webinar agenda, we'll be starting off with having episode 1 refresh, and we'll be going through the Incorta Cloud benefits, Incorta Cloud architecture, and our new Incorta X features. And also we'll be having a demo to showcase our new Incorta X features and how to create a new cloud cluster and configure this cluster and create your data source, and of course migrate your on-premise data sources into Incorta. So let's start off with going through the high-level architecture of Incorta as a sort of a refresher. So as you remember, we have on the left side, your different data sources, whether it's an on-premise data source or a data source on the cloud. You are able to ingest the data through Incorta's range of connectors and ingest it directly inside its shared storage, where you can afterwards start doing your modeling, doing the needed relation between the different table, enriching, of course, your data, doing the needed data quality rules and cleansing, and then providing a self-service analytic layer for the business user for self-services. And of course, this data can be consumed either through Incorta's visualization layer or your preferred third-party visualization tool, whether it's Power BI or Tableau. And of course, as part of Incorta's new feature, we do have our generative AI contribution, which is the co-pilot, where you can ask questions to your data and get direct answers. Or of course, if you would like to use any of the third-party AI providers, Incorta can provide you with the needed data in order for those applications to work on your, of course, raw business data. And also, if you have your online, let's say, data warehouse like Snowflake or BigQuery, we can be a query accelerator where we can push this data directly to, for example, Snowflake or BigQuery. So let's refresh again some of the Incorta Cloud, capabilities and features, which is number 1, unlimited scalability. So scaling up and down your cluster is very easy. It's just a simple drag of the slider where you can increase the size of your cluster or decrease it to adapt to your data size inside your organization. And we'll see this live in a demo. Also, you would have all your data in a unified single sort of truth. Whether your data is on the cloud or your data is on premises, you would have all your data inside Incorta as a single source of truth. And of course, by decreasing the burden on the IT infrastructure team, our fully SaaS offering is managed, so there is no need for any of the IT infrastructure team to manage our cluster. Everything is managed from Incorta side, which would eventually decrease the cost, of course, saving the time, of course, of your IT infrastructure team. So again, this is the regions of our Incorta's SaaS offering. So I would like also to focus mainly on the Middle East area. So mainly we do have now our own cloud offering inside in Google Cloud in Dammam. We do also have in Qatar in Doha, and we do have also Microsoft Azure in the UAE in Abu Dhabi. So let's talk about how the Incorta Cloud architecture would look like. So if we look at the right side, you can see this is where you would have your Incorta Cloud instance, which is unique to every customer. And this cluster is only accessible to the customer, and the data is private to the customer, to each customer only. And on the left side, of course, you would have your different data, whether it's a data residing on the cloud or the data is on-premise. And of course, from the challenges that most of the customer face is moving their data from on-premises to the cloud. So we do provide a small component which is called the Incorta DataAgent, which is deployed in either a small Windows machine or a small Linux machine residing on your side. We are able to securely move your on-premise data through a tunneling process from the Incorta DataAgent inside Incorta through the data acquisition layer, of course. And with the help of our 200+ range of connectors, we make sure that we are able to connect to most of your data sources, whether it's, as we said, cloud-based or on premises. And of course, all of this data is stored inside our shared storage, which is Apache Parquet, which is a columnar storage with a compression ratio up to 80%. And once the data is stored, you can utilize your data using our analytical service. So you can create the needed, the joining passes. You can create the needed modeling efforts that you need, and you can, of course, provide the business user with the semantic layer and self-service capabilities. With simple drags and drops, they can generate their insights simply through here. And of course, since Incorta comes bundled with Spark, we have our own data enrichment layer. So you can use anything, from different languages like SQL, Spark, Python, Scala, or R to do the needed, let's say, advanced analytical model, machine learning models. And as part also of the generative AI features, we do have we do have our AI feature embedded inside our dedicated notebook, which is called Zeppelin Notebook. So meaning that you can simply just write in, simple English language, and you would get generated Spark code or automatically generated SQL code automatically ready for execution without the need to write the code manually. And of course, all of this data will be stored back to the shared storage and can be utilized either for analytics or to be joined to the different tables coming from our different data sources. And of course, we do have our metadata server, which will be dedicated and available on the cloud, and the admin portal that is simple to control and to configure whatever component you need inside the platform. And of course, the accessibility is simple through the web browser, whether you're the data engineer or the business user, to consume the data or to build, the data pipeline. So let's talk a bit about the Incorta X feature, which is our new engine, which enables us for advanced analytical features, advanced modeling features, and of course, generative AI and AI and ML related topics, and of course, query accelerators. And of course, since it's Incorta on the cloud, we do facilitate the process using Incorta Nexus to integrate with the different LLMs providers like Gemini and Llama, and of course OpenAI, in order to have AI available on your operational lakehouse on the third normalized form of the data, which provide a huge edge when it comes to provide accurate result, whether you go with the different LLMs providers. And those are some of the Incorta X features which we'll be showcasing during our demo, ranging from augmented analytics when it comes to augmented insights and storytelling features, machine learning capabilities, advanced modeling feature, which is done through the Data Studio, where you can build the data pipeline simply. Even a business user can build this. And of course, query accelerator, in case you would like to use Tableau, Power BI, for example, on top of Incorta, we do turbocharge this using our new engine Incorta X and the query accelerator feature. And just to brief the new feature, I would like to share this screen so that you can see how does this components come together to create what we call now the Incorta X features. So now it's time for our demo. So during our demo, this is the different phases that we'll go through. We'll see how we can create a new cloud cluster, how we can do the cloud cluster configurations. We're going to do also a data source connectivity and some advanced modeling features, which is through our Incorta Data Studio. And finally, generative AI, which is scattered around the platform. We'll see how this helps us as a business user and even as a data engineers to facilitate our day-to-day tasks. So let's jump to our Incorta Cloud cluster. So this is where we can create a cloud cluster. So how we can create it, it's relatively really simple. All that I need to do is just click on this button. I'm gonna choose the name of the cluster. For example, we can call it as webinar EP2, for example. And we can choose the cluster size, just getting the slider as needed. We can start with small, for example, at X small, and we can choose our region. And simply, I'm going to click on the create button. So usually this takes around like 5 minutes. And once it's done, I'm going to receive an email, and this email would have all the credentials needed. And as you can see here, as it says, it like takes from 5 to 10 minutes. So let's take a look until this cluster finishes at one of our clusters that's already created. So as you can see over here, This is an already created clusters, and this is where we can create the different configurations. Currently, I'm on the latest release. In case there is a new release, I will get an update button over here. I can just click over this, and as simple as this, I can get the newest version. Clicking on the configuration, you would have the option to scale up or scale down. In our case, if I want to like to scale up, just I can move the slider and save changes, and I would have my cluster restarted with the new size. And also, I would have over here the different services that I have, you know, from analytical service, the loader services. You can create a new service or add a new node if needed. And also, we do have here the auto suspension in case you would like to put the cloud into sleep in specific timing, but usually we put this to never. And we do also have here the Copilot capabilities. So the Copilot capabilities are the capabilities related to Gen AI. I'm going to shortly show you the settings needed in order to integrate with the different LLMs. And we do also have, you know, the connectivity to the different BI tools. So let's say you would like to use Tableau or Power BI. You can use the following ports in order to automatically connect to your cloud instance. And of course, there is the data agent that we've talked about shortly in the architecture slide, in order to be able, of course, to connect to your on-premise data sources securely. Also, we do have here the access and security, so you can provide the admin accessibility and assign privileges to the user as needed. We also do have the restriction over here in case, you know, you would like to restrict the access to your cloud instance to a specific IP range, which is the IP range of your organization. This can be simply done using this part of the access and security by adding the range of IP addresses. And then we do have, of course, the advanced configuration, but I'm interested in the part of the Incorta Copilot. So mainly, if I click on the Copilot here, this is the setting, for example, that you need. You can choose your model or AI provider. So over here, I choose, for example, OpenAI. I can choose the model name, which is GPT-4. And of course, I would need some the completion token, some completion organization, and a little bit of credentials. And once all of this is in place, I can save it, and we would have our Copilot capabilities available to be consumed inside our Incorta instance. So that was it regarding the creation. And of course, in case you're an existing customer and you would like to migrate to the cloud, migrating your tenant is a really simple process. It can be done through the CMC, just taking an input from your tenant on-prem, and you can directly have it on the cloud and start loading your data again and have everything migrated, including the security rules, all your data, dashboard, semantic layer, and everything to be available on the cloud seamlessly. So let's jump now to the content tab. So I'm going to jump now to the Incorta instance. Let's showcase the different capabilities of the Incorta platform, including the Gen AI features and the advanced analytical features. But let's start with the beginning of the journey by going to the marketplace first. This is where I can pick up the different connectors that I need. So clicking on the connectors tab over here, I can see the range of connectors that Incorta provide, of course, from on-premise data sources to, to data sources on the cloud. So simply, you can see here the different categories that we have, from databases. You can choose, for example, MongoDB or Oracle database, or of course, anything that's related, let's say, application layer connectors like Oracle Fusion and so on. And all that you need to do to install any of those connectors is just simply clicking on the connector and clicking on the install over here. And you would have your new connector installed and available. And in case there is any update, you would get it over the air over here and just update it, and you would have the latest release of the connector to make sure that you're having the best performance for the connector. So once you have it, we can jump to the data tab. So the data tab, this is where you can connect, to the different data sources that you have. Just click here on the new button, add data source. You will get the range of connectors that we have. You can, upload your data files. You can connect to the range of database connectors that we have, data lake connectors, application layer connectors, and so on. So let's take an example for a MySQL database, for example. We can take the online store. Just click over here on the edit button. You can see that all that you need to establish this connection is the username and a password. And of course, you would need to have a connection string. And definitely, you will need to create a data agent from the data tab also. So once you have the data agent in place, you can just create it and download an authentication file from here. You can directly connect to the to your instance inside on premises, of course, the data agent instance. And simply, if I go back to the data tab and click again on any of those source systems, you would find an option over here that's called the data agent. You would just choose your data agent and you're good to go, and you can have your connectivity to your on-premise source systems. So once you have the connection to the data, of course, you would have, the schema tab. So the schema tab, this is where you have the different tables. You can start creating the different joins. So you can go over here, for example, on the online store, which is an already created schema. You can see, the different tables that we have. You can click over here in the diagram. You can see the different joins available. You can create a join by simply just doing a drag and drop. And once you have all, your tables and joining condition in place, that will take us to the business schema tab. This is where you can, create the self-service capabilities for your business users to empower them for self-service capabilities. So if you click over here on online store, just searching for this specific business schema, you can take a look at, for example, the sales weather business schema. You can see we have a range, of labeling over here to facilitate for the business user to know what exactly this column represents. And of course, a simplified description, which is optional also to clarify even more for the customer what does this represent. And all of this is backed up, of course, by lineage, so that the business user, the data engineers can know and trace back each column from the originating until, the dashboard. So in case that you'd like to edit it, you'll be able to know where exactly it's going to input. So let's take a look now at the advanced modeling feature by jumping to the Data Studio tab. So as I was saying, the Data Studio is one of our new Incorta X features, providing you a simplified way to build your data pipeline. So all that you need to do is just go to the left side. You can choose from the range of data sets that you have or tables that you have. Simply all that you need to do is just drag and drop the table that you need. And you can take a look at it by exploring the table. You can see live the data inside this table, some result statistics about it regarding the mean values, the standard deviation, a bit of profiling view to give you, a high-level look about this table. And then you can start building your data pipeline simply by choosing a specific recipe. This recipe can be anything from a data quality rule. It can be a join. It can be even a code. It can be a cleansing, let's say, column that you'd like to create. You can simply choose the recipe that you need. So let's take, for example, this data quality rule that was already created. And let's click on the edit button. So you can see that all you need to do is just have a recipe name, your data input, your schema, of course, your schema and base table from where your table is coming. And then you can write the rule. And what's interesting over here, we have part of our generative AI feature is part also of the Data Studio. So let's say you would like to write a rule, but I don't want to write a code, or the business user doesn't know how to write a code. So simply, all that I need to do is just write in plain English language. Let's say I would like to say full name is not null, is not empty, since I'm a business user. And let's say full name doesn't contain the letter B, for example. And let's click on the Copilot side. So automatically, Incorta is going to convert whatever I have written in this prompt into an actual formula, as you can see over here. So exactly whatever I have mentioned. So now it's making sure that the full name is not null and the last name is not null, and even it's not empty by empty strings. And also that the full name does not consist of the letter B and the last name does not consist of letter B. And I can save this and I'm good to go. And if I click on explore, I can actually see if there is any sort of violations from here and the timestamp for the actual issues. And then I can even create another, let's say, recipe, and this recipe can be something like a code, an aggregation like this one. So simply I can click on the edit button, and likewise with the data quality rule, you can use the Copilot features. Simply, you can just go ahead and write in English language what you need to do, and automatically a Python script will be created, as you can see below. For example, this is getting the distinct count by age and gender. So as you can see over here, automatically the code was generated, and it provides you comments so that you can trace back this code, and you are able at the same time to edit it if you need. So you know each component of the code, what does it actually represent and what does it actually do. And you can save this. And actually, you can also have multiple flows like this flow, which does like a fuzzy join in order to get you a master golden record from a golden record table. That can be like the country name or an actual people name. So you can use this fuzzy join capability. And then you can go with the flow and finally save a materialized view at the end, which can be consumed for analytics, or it can be saved to the schema, of course, and rejoined to the different tables that's available. So that was quickly the Data Studio part. So let's jump now to part of the generative AI feature, specifically in the dashboard and the content page. So the content page, this is where you have the dashboards that was created by your user or dashboards that's shared by other users. Simply, we do have the Copilot feature. If you look at the top, you would see this Copilot button. So simply, if you click on it, it would take you to this prompt. So actually, you can consider this as your normal experience with ChatGPT. You can actually go over here, choose your business schema, or choose the view that you would like to to ask the question to. So let's take, for example, the online store that we were working on, the MySQL source data source, and we can choose the business view, which is the sales weather, and we can just change this, and we can ask any question, and this question can be anything like, for example, sales by region, for example, and you can just directly ask this question. So what's the Copilot going to do? It's going to take this question, it's going to convert it to an executable query, and it's going to query it against your business schema and will create for you a visualization that shows you the actual sales by region. And you can keep asking it, of course, question until it provides you with, let's say, a clear answer to your option, to your question. And also, any insight that gets generated from here, it's 100% editable. You can utilize it in different dashboards. So as you can see, I have my insight created with a prompt over here that tells me what's the top sales, giving me an explanation of what insight was generated, even a related insight, which can, for example, give me a sales and profit distribution across the region. So I can go with the related insight and will generate for me another insight. I would give me even a summarization again, telling me what does this insight shows. And I can take this insight, take a look at it. I can edit this insight. I can add it to a new dashboard or an existing dashboard, or change something related to the insight, as simple as this. Yeah. And also one more feature that I would like to share with you is the generating story feature. So simply what I can do here is just click on the generate story, select my business schema over here, which will be also the online store. And I'm going to choose the sales weather also. And then I'm going to describe a story. So let's say, for example, we can go with show me sales performance across the years and how to improve my sales performance, for example. And then I can click on generate. So what this is going to do, it's going to break down everything that I wrote in the describe story, and it's going to execute them at different points in order to generate for me a story. And this story will consist of different insights, which will help me to have a better understandability about my sales. As you can see here, it has splitted into multiple actions. The first thing is getting the sales performance over the year, sales performance by product category, sales performance by customer type, and then a conclusion. And this conclusion will include some action points that I can do in order for me to improve my sales performance for the upcoming years. So let's just give it a couple of seconds, and it's going to generate for us our story. And of course, like we have seen with the Copilot capabilities, this is also editable once it's created. You can edit the insights. You can even add new insights or new tab to the output of the generate story. So this is one of the greatest features of Incorta. Everything is flexible. Everything is, you're able to edit, you are able to create whatever is generated, whether it's manually generated or generated by AI. So everything is possible and there is no constraints. So as you can see over here, we do have our cover, which shows the CS performance analysis and improvement, like you would get, with the PowerPoint presentation. And then you would have an introduction. An introduction will tell you what's the aim of this story and what's the objective of it. And then you would have different, tabs, and each tab would give you an insight. Like here, for example, the sales performance over the years, and you would have each point showing you summarization of the key points of this insight. And also you would have the sales performance by product category, and you'd have even a summarization to the points of this insight. And then finally, the sales performance by customer type. And finally, you would get a conclusion. And this conclusion would give you some insight about the data available from the previous year. And I would tell you, for example, to concentrate on specific product category or specific product, specific customer types, in order to be able to generate more revenue future-wise. And also, just to let you know that we do have the ability to edit anything, as I was saying. So you can edit the insight, you can change the insight, add even more, details inside this insight. Everything is possible. Changing the text itself, it's possible. So it's really simple process to do. So I'm done with all the product demo. Please feel free. We have like 5 minutes. We can discuss any questions that you have. So please feel free to use the Q&A section. Okay, I think there is no questions, so we can, okay, just a second. I think there is one question that we have. Okay, so one of the questions is, what is the capabilities? What's the difference between the cloud capabilities versus on-prem? Okay, so this is a great question. So one of the biggest capabilities that we have is being able to decrease the burden on your IT infrastructure team. So the whole process of handling the cluster is done from the Incorta side. This is one thing. Being able to scale up and down easily from the different sizes based on your data size that you have. It's a very easy process also on the cloud. Also, likewise, the process of updating and getting the new features of Incorta, it's really simple to do. Just a click of a button, you can get update to the latest version. So this is some of the capabilities and benefits between the on-prem and on cloud. Of course, there's a lot, but this is mainly some of the highlight features. So also we have one more question. Is the Incorta Copilot using native LLM designed by Incorta? So this is also another great question. So basically, we do have the option to use private LLM. We have our own private LLMs that is being designed as we speak, which can be used. And also we can utilize public LLMs like Gemini and OpenAI, for example. Yeah, I think that's it about the questions. Thank you so much for joining today's webinar, and we'll see you again soon in another webinar. Thank you so much. Have a great day.